Hello, welcome back to another droid review. So this is another one of my droids. This is a pit droid from Star Wars Episode 1. This was one of my first ever 3D prints that I did. It's about 3 years old. Being one of my first 3D prints, it was pretty much one of those kind of learning curves that I had to do to try and figure out what I was doing with 3D printing. So it was printed on a very, very small printer back in the day, about 3 years ago. The printer was probably about 4 years old when I got it, so it wasn't brand new, wasn't one of the best. It was some German brand, but it did the job, and it gave me my pit droids. This probably took about 2 or 3 reels of PLA to do completely. So it being my first droid, there was a few things I did mess up on. Didn't know infill to wall ratios, things like that. It was, one of the more fun things that I've done, but it did require, further down the line, a lot of work to try and get back to, a showable standard. So this was painted probably two years ago. I painted him in about a day, along with my other one. It was just one of those quick paint jobs to get him in at conventions, and I didn't really spend much time on them. Over the years, parts have broken. Things like the arms, the joints here, I've twisted them over the years and they've just snapped off. Shoulders have broken, his hips have broken. I broke a knee. The neck, that's broken about 2 times. Finally sorted it out. Now I know what I'm doing with 3D printing. He's got electronics built into him as well, so as you can see, he does have a light in his eye. This is just the standard files, so these aren't the modified shoulders or anything like that, which I do have. He's quite good fun. I've just recently repainted him, so I gave him a more of a toned down paint job. So he's still painted in the browns from episode 1, but I've done some weathering, which is a bit more, more is less. So in my old one, I pretty much just dry brushed the crap out of him. Stippled on loads of black, stippled on loads of silver. Very, it didn't look right, it didn't look normal or natural. So I went back and I hand painted in every single one of these scratches you see on him. So anywhere that I'd see he'd normally have damage, so on the feet, things like that, hands, knees, that's where I'd paint all the damage. So I went in with the black paint first, and then I went back through with a very bright silver and did it that way. So he is a very fun little build, and if anyone does get into droid building, I'd kind of recommend to do one of these first, as they are quite big, but they are quite simple. Then you can kind of do what you wish with it when you want. So if you wanted to put electronics in it, you could. As I said, I've put electronics in him, so he's got a wire running from his head down the neck. There's a cavity inside the torso where just 2 AA batteries are held. Turn that on, put his back panel back on, and that's it. The batteries will last for at least a good weekend. And yeah, he is by all means my favourite of all my droids, because he is my first, and I love episode 1, so he goes in my collection very well. He's got some tools that I printed as well, so he's got like a little socket hammer, and he's got like a prong thing. This needs to get repainted, as this was kind of the style that I painted the other one in. So as you can see, it is quite slap happy. Just needs to get toned down a little bit. Oh, there's a hand come off. And yeah, he's a great little droid, and hopefully I can get him back into the convention scene again. So this all comes apart, so the elbows come out, the head comes off, the torso comes off as well, so this can all be kind of flat packed down. He's got some feet clamps as well, so the first time I ever took him to a convention, he didn't have the feet clamps, and a 13-year-old kid went up to him and pushed him clean over and snapped him straight in half at the hip, broke one of his legs and smashed the back of the head, so I actually had to reprint the head. So he was out for a full weekend, and he only saw about 15 minutes worth of convention time before he got destroyed. I did also print a little restraining bolt for him, so at some point I will attach this to him, but not in much of a rush at the moment. And I'm also going to do a custom base, so I'm also going to put some sand on this, make it look a bit deserty, and that way he kind of has like a little bit of a display. And yeah, this is my pit droid. So you'll probably see him at conventions with his new paint job, which I am loving. And yeah, thank you very much for watching.